Based on everything we've done thus far, how would you say anything in this project has it affected your marriage, in what way and how?
Well, being married 28 plus years, we've experienced some of the things that we've done through this production. But it makes you think about your actions, your behavior towards one another. And it just gave me some more insight of how we speak to one another, what we say, and how it affects each other. So I can say that it truly ministered to me in that way, and how I'm communicating with Anthony, my hubby.
Well, I think it's been a very positive influence. You know, as I was going through many of these scenes, I saw myself in these scenes, and I've learned. I've learned it's made my marriage better, and hopefully that my wife will see me as a better husband, and I view her as a better wife, and can continue to show the love and respect that I need to have for her, because a man that finds a wife does find a good thing.
You know, Tyler, when I think about the overall play, being married for 23 years, there's a lot of time, there's a lot of up and down that happens in a marriage. And sometimes we take each other for granted. And this film really focuses on that, how a marriage can get stale, and how you really have to keep it young and fresh, which means you have to take your wife on dates. You have to, you know, still engage your husband in his interests. And this film really talks about that. And I know that it has impacted my marriage, because it's hearing some of the dialogue. I go home and I share it with my husband and say, you know what? I think you take me for granted. I want to go out tonight. So yeah, it has had a direct impact.
To any young couple or any newlyweds, from this project, what words of advice would you give to them as words of encouragement?
Communication. Communication is very important in a relationship. Prayer. If we can learn to, if I could say anything to a young couple that I miss in my early ages, stages of marriages, prayer.
I mean, marriage requires a lot of work. Physical attractions are one thing, but you got to learn to communicate. You got to learn to compromise. You got to learn to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And truly, if the two have been united by God, they will become one.
I would tell them that you really have to think about the other person in the marriage. You know, when God gives a husband a wife, he gives him a good thing. And a man has to remember that when you found a wife, you found a good thing. And you have to treat that good thing like you did when you were dating her. So when you marry her, just don't think that, okay, she's fine with me gaining weight, or she's fine with me hanging out with the boys, or she's fine with no compliments, no roses. No. You didn't do all those things when we were dating. Don't do them now.
You got to be willing to put the time in. You got to listen. I said, that's God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you got to be able to listen and hear your partner, and show a love and affection. If you're truly meant for one another, things in the end work out, and they work out beautifully.
Praying about a situation, praying and asking God to guide you in how to speak to one another, what to say, that it will be received in a loving way. And if I have anything that I can share to them, is to pray for one another and pray about your situation, because you're going to come against some struggles. Pray for one another, pray with one another, and pray before you go to that individual. And the most important thing also is to communicate with one another. That is very important to me, is communication. And to have fun. Don't stop having fun. That's what was wrong. Couples stop enjoying each other, and we get into the routine of everyday living, and we forget to court one another. Keep it fresh and young. Date, have fun.
Now, from day one on this project, when I first presented you with the idea, all the way up until this point, from the last filming and everything, what would you say your experience was like as your final comments?
Well, I think it's been a great experience, to be able to take a behind-the-scenes look at a project like this and see what all takes place. The learning of the lines, to becoming familiar with the other actors in the video, to the lighting, to the sets from the different camera angles, and how everything works away. I've really come away impressed with the process and see the final product and how it's put together is really great. It gave me a greater and even greater appreciation, not just for the technical side of video production, but what it takes to really make something that is worthwhile and can touch the lives of other people.
Overall, I think the experience was very enjoyable. It was very, you could tell that it had the elements of love, concern, compassion. I could tell you really had, you thought about what you were writing as you were writing it. It didn't sound like it didn't read like someone who was just trying to do something quick and in a hurry.
Long, but it was a great experience because it's a side that I've never been on. I've never been before the cameras like this, where you have to do one scene 4, 5, 6 times. That was an experience within itself. And knowing that every scene you're doing it so many different times from so many different angles. I'm learning. Mm-hmm. I'm learning about filming, production, and how things are done behind the scene.
I really got a feel of someone who really thought about the process, thought about what you wanted your end result to be, and you really put it together. So I know I'm new to the project, but I feel like I've been with it all along. I am very blessed to be a part of it, and I just wish you nothing but the best.
So when we go to the theaters, we're looking at something. We don't know what these actors what they go through 2, 3, 4 in the morning trying to put something together for entertainment. It's a lot of work, but it's a great reward because you're learning, you're growing. And just working with you as a director, I've learned so much in watching you with the lights, the camera, and the different angles and everything. It was a great experience for me.
Well, I've been really impressed with the effort and the opportunity to bring about good in other people's lives.
Now, do you have any last comments you would have to have the viewers to hear?
Well, one thing I want to know, I want to say this, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, is the young man that's behind this project that put everything together, from the writing of the scripts to the instructors to the actors to the actual filming of this making. You know, I lift him up and I give him high praise and honor because this is truly a lot of work, and he showed a lot of dedication and a lot of personal effort in putting this together. And Tyler, I take my hat off to you. I'm telling you, young man, keep on pressing, keep on doing what you're doing. The Lord is going to open some doors for you and do some great things. And I don't know about you, but I'm really encouraged, and it makes me feel proud. I'm proud as a peacock just to know you and be a part of something like this.
Yeah, you guys, you have to really come out and see this, and if you've seen it already, I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, it has God's touch on it. You can tell it's been ordained by Him, and that in itself makes it special. So if you haven't seen this film, come and see it. I think you will be blessed.
It's a form of entertainment, but there is some ministering in there, because in the end, if they see it from the end, they see how God can change any situation. Where my husband was ready to walk out the door, he had prepared the divorce papers. He had already made up his mind that it was over. But to see what God can do, how He stepped in and just changed the situation within a snap. And that's more than anything what I pray that somebody, a young couple that comes and see this film, that they would get out of this, is what God can do. He can change any situation because He's sovereign. He's in control.